it should be clear to everyone watching this that the different policies being set forth across the country by school reopenings is completely about politics. It has nothing actually to do with health or the well-being of your children. There's overwhelming definitive science on every front that shows unequivocally children are far safer and better off in every way by actually going back to school. And I mean fully back to school. When it comes to kids, this stuff about students being 6 feet apart, universal mask wearing in school and limits on classroom size, this is like bizarre health theater. That's all this is. I mean, there's a lot at stake here. This goes beyond just academics. I mean, a few weeks ago, the American Academy of Pediatrics strongly recommended that schools need to be reopened right away. They stated the obvious. Keeping children at home isolates them, and it increases the risk of depression and suicide. It also prevents teachers from noticing and reporting physical and sexual abuse of children, abuse that's almost always certainly more frequent for children that are unable to leave the house. So for kids, all the risks from staying locked at home are very high, while the risk of coronavirus is essentially non-existent. The virus is dangerous to the very old and for those who already are sick with other medical conditions, but not for children. I mean, we know for certain that for kids, the virus is far less deadly than even the flu. Children aren't even a significant risk to spread the virus to others. I mean, there are studies across the world showing that viral loads in children are very low, which makes it very difficult for them to even spread the disease. Children are much more likely to actually get the virus from their parents rather than the other way around. In fact, to my knowledge, I don't think there's even one single documented case of a child who gave a teacher COVID, and we're talking worldwide. I mean, there are many places where schools were left completely open throughout the pandemic. I know in Germany, all the major medical associations called for the immediate reopening of the country's schools and the daycare centers. And they called for reopening without any restrictions. No dividing children into small groups or masks or social distancing. Doctors around the world get this. I mean, Sweden never closed primary schools or daycares at all. In other countries, I think Austria, Norway, I think Singapore, they've all reopened schools and none have seen this explosion of cases. In Denmark, schools were open since late April. Masks were never required, and the number of infected children hasn't gone up. It's actually just declined. Now, this isn't opinion. This is the actual science that we have from studies around the globe. And there's an overwhelming amount of it. Coronavirus isn't deadly to children. Sending them to school isn't going to spread it. Keeping them home hurts children and everybody else. Schools absolutely, unequivocally need to open. There is so much at stake on this issue because nothing affects ordinary people's lives more than this. Without schools returning to normal, millions of American parents won't be able to return to work. It's lunacy. It's not rational. It's just hysteria. And it's all politically driven. And how sad is that?